little drum. Pretty rascal. Got my worm. Catching all these fish on a Jimmy Big Time worm. This is a worm I got him to make for me. It's red shad, but it's got black and red flakes on both sides. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it not only catches drum, but it catches bass too. But these drums seem to really like it today. They're on this point. They're moving a little further away from me. I have to cast a little bit further every time.
Any sponsor changes, additions, who's back in 2024. So BTL with Clark Ream. I enjoyed the hell out of that, man. I thought that was interesting.
And look, this is the conversations that we have in person. That's what people don't realize. When you're talking to Ish or Castledine, these are the same exact conversations we would have sitting around drinking a beer, me driving to a tournament. This is the same conversation you and I just had every year.
Maybe you have them with Ish and Castledine. They just saved it. They just take shots at me on Open Pros Pick'em. They don't call me just to chat, Clark. I haven't reached that status yet.
Y'all doing that again this year?
Sure. I'm a glutton for punishment. If I'm invited, if Andrew does it again, I'll be there. I'll be the puncher boy.
Y'all need the fantasy football punishments for losers.
Yeah.
Little fatty.
All right. We'll be back right after these. Shoreline Boat and RV. Dock Rash.
pretty blue tail on him. Thank you, buddy. Little fella. Broke my rod. Gimme. Ain't that big either. Just mean. Got that little blue tail on it. Broke my rod. That's what that was. Look at here. There's still some around. Look at there. Still some around. Aren't they pretty? You get right in the boot.
I'll be honest, the industry has said many times, well, it's another mouth to feed, and that's true. You know, the industry's small, sponsorship dollars aren't just getting handed out around every corner, but they bust their butt week in and week out to make this all happen. And dude, not to make money. I mean, trust me, I can tell you these guys are doing it for for the long haul, for the anglers, and to try to create a different platform, and they deserve it. They really do. They deserve the industry support, and I feel like now they're getting the angler support. So we'll see, man. Year 4, it's gonna be fun commentating. There's no doubt about that.
My problem as a show host trying to cover this is to figure out where the NPFL stands in the list of things, because at first to me it seemed like they really highlighted it as a way to, I don't want to say get your feet wet, but a way to jump in the deep end and then graduate. And you see the Keith Carsons and the John Sokups and a number of guys who have gone on from that. But then you saw the John Cox, Florida, and Patrick. And, I always say, like, the other John Cox from Georgia, he's not the other John Cox. He just happens to be another angler named John Cox. And I said that on a show once, and he's like, "Thank you for not referring to me as the other John Cox." Like, he's the
one and not only John Cox. That's how I refer to him.
But then you see what you have Williamson and Patrick Walters, and then you see what Patrick's done with that, and then this year you have a bunch of guys. So is it like a lateral move? Is it a standalone move? Is it still being treated as a developmental league? Is it a league where guys who want to fish professionally get beat up by guys who do fish professionally? Like, where does this thing fit in the bigger picture, in your opinion? And I know that that's a tough question to answer as the host and representative of the FPFL.
Yeah, no, it's for me. I was going to say.
Pretty one. Look at him nice. Look how gold he is. Got that little blue on the tail. Isn't he pretty? Got him all twisted up. Come on in here. Doing all twisted up. Come here. There you go. Ain't he pretty?
Yeah, right.
right? Because you know how it goes, dude. Everybody.
Yeah, you're 5 pounds back, and you might as well be 15 pounds back, usually.
Right, 100%, because everybody's whacking on them. But for whatever happened, the weather events that occurred in that particular tournament, guys were struggling to catch them on the last 2 days. Where I figured it out, and I was really catching them on the last 2 days. So it was, but it never, the coolest thing about our sport, and you know what, Frankie and I had this conversation the other day. In fact, I was talking about adjustment, believe it or not, and I told him, he goes, Dad, are you gonna pop in a couple of these things? I go, well, I said, I'm rusty, dude. I said, my adjustment time isn't what it used to be, because I'm not on the water every single day, and so it takes me a minute longer to process. When I was fishing all the time, I just never had to think about it. I said, oh, now you better do this, or oh, I better do that, and now I have to analyze what I'm doing again. I gotta think about it, analyze it, and then go do it, because the recall isn't as rapid because of lack of time.
It's not instinctual where you're making decisions without even thinking about it. It's kind of mechanical where you have to think about it to get back in the swing of things before the decisions kind of can become natural.
Exactly. It's not like you get in your car. You don't have to consciously think, I better turn my turn signal on. You just
there he goes.
Think you're doing it anymore.
But if you go to Aruba for a couple of weeks, you don't have to drive, and you're in a resort backing out. You know what I mean? Like, you ever got back and you're like, whoa.
Make it shallower by beefing up your line size, or make it run a little deeper by going thinner line size. So that was why the Perfect 10 was born, and it was born because the bass guys needed a bait that would suspend deeper, stay horizontal in the water column, because I don't like them this way, and I don't like them this way. I like them this way, because I do a lot of, in my technique, I shake the rods in. So when you shake it, what the bait does is it does this on its axis. It rotates this way.
Another word, instead of feathering it, you're feathering it when you get it to depth.
Right, when I get it down to the proper depth. So the first thing I'll do is I'll cast it out, and I'll do
in the Ozarks. There is, and it's in the next month and a half, specifically when the water's cold. You might have a little bit of a shad kill. You still have some good clarity in the water. A lot of the veteran anglers will say, it's a rogue day. And these are guys who throw other jerk baits too. There's other garters to that, all sorts of different brands. But when it's rogue season, and when they're on a rogue, it will 100% outfish any other jerk bait on the market. And I think it's because of that first segment when we started talking about the jerk baits, where you really went into the lazy and how you fish it, and the little, it does things that it's hard to do.
I just wanted to share with you some of the baits I used the other day when I was catching those drum and a couple bass. I was bass fishing, and the main bait I was using is this Jimmy Big Time JB Shaker. It's I think it's 6.3 inch, and I get them from Jimmy Big Time Baits. He'll make them up for you, whatever color you want. What I was using was a color I got him to make for me. Was it's like a red shad, but it's got red flake on both sides, on the black side and the red side. And what I like about Jimmy's worms is they're very soft. I do this for a living, taking people fishing, and I want something soft because soft gets more bites. I'm sure he can make it harder if you want a bait a little bit harder. I like them soft because I'm looking for the bites. You know, people depend on me to put them on fish and for them to catch fish, so I'm looking something to get bites. And that worm is so soft. Look how just so soft it is. Another thing I caught a few bass on, Jimmy makes a French fry called a Spanish fry. And you can, I was rigging this on a little jig head, and you can rig this bait so many different ways. You can rig it on a jig head, you can wacky rig it, you can put it on a shaky head, you can Texas rig it, you can split shot rig it, you can Carolina rig it. I mean, on and on. And in the spring, it's something about this bait in the spring that really catches some fish. So Google Jimmy Big Time Baits and look at all the different kind of baits that he's got. And like I said, it's by order, so you tell him what color you want and how you want it, and you can't beat it. Another one of the baits I caught fish on was a pulse head jig. When they quit biting that Texas rig, I just wanted to throw something else in there, and this is a Pulse Fish Lures pulse jig, and I got a little Hog Farmer 3.5 on the back of it, and this is a good little bait. It's got a tight little wobble to it, and that day I caught drum, bass, striper, and trout all on that. So you saltwater guys, don't miss out on this. This is a good bait for any kind of fish. And you can go to pulselures.com, and they got all different kind of sizes. They even have these with skirts on them. So it's a good one to do. All right, that's what we caught them on the other day. Fishing's good. Book your trip now. I'm starting to book up for the summer, so go ahead and get your name in the pot and let's go catch some fish, because always remember, if you don't go, you can't catch them.